out of all of these top 5 best in the horror movie series, this was probably the easiest one, which is saying something. My top 5 all-time favorite Halloween movies. Coming in at number 5 is Halloween H2O. And I thought this was very cool because I remember being a kid and being a little surprised by just the idea of Jamie Lee Curtis coming back to the series. I know it's 20 years later, but still, it seemed like they purposely said she died in those 4, 5, and 6 films because she would never come back, that she was done with this character in this series. And her coming back, I thought, was very cool. And not only that, but Jamie Lee Curtis, this is her best performance as Laurie. As much as I like the first 2 films that she was in, she wasn't as strong as you would like to think of Laurie Strode. But when you get to here, yeah, she's damaged, and yeah, she's fucked up in the head at the beginning, sure, but when she is confronted with Michael, and she is face-to-face with him, and she's like, alright, I have to take this head on, she goes after him. She becomes a badass, and you go, yes, this is the Laurie that I want to think of as a lasting image. And I am so upset that this wasn't the last Halloween film of the original series, because Resurrection just completely destroyed how perfect this ending was. At number 4, Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers. And here's something that might be a little surprising in a sense to have on the list, because Halloween 2, I thought it was pretty definitively Michael was dead. The guy burnt alive, huge explosion. It's obvious why he wasn't in the 3rd film. I'm kind of surprised that people saw Halloween 2's ending and expected to see him back in part 3, but they did. They were pissed off, so they brought him back. And as much as I don't buy that he could have survived that fire, I kind of like what they do with it. I like how he just wakes up. Because. And he's almost more powerful than ever. I love at the beginning, him with the bandaged face. I almost wish that they just kept it like that and not have to put on sort of a not so great version of his mask. But still, him going around and killing people and finding his way back to Haddonfield. And then we see that now he has a niece, Danielle Harris, as Jamie. And I've always liked Danielle Harris in this first film. The 5th movie, not so much. But the 4th film, I liked her. She was very innocent. She wasn't in control of any of the situation. She was having these crazy nightmares about the boogeyman, who she knew was her uncle. But she only heard stories about him, so that's what made her fear of him that much worse. And then the ending, I think, really took an interesting turn. I hate what they did with it in the 5th movie, but I love how it just happens, that she just snaps. And I took it more as this whole ordeal, this whole situation broke her. And she was forced to continue in the footsteps of her uncle. I think the ending of this film really makes it awesome. At number 3, people are going to be pissed off about this. The remake. I like this remake. I do. Just in the sense that I think there's a lot more behind the story. I am sometimes a sucker for backstory stuff, origin stuff, if it's fascinating enough. And I do think Rob Zombie did a good job of showing if Michael Myers existed in the real world, this would be his backstory. This would be his upbringing. Just a fucked up family life, how he killed animals at first and then graduated to killing his high school bully, and then eventually just massacred his stepfather, his sister's boyfriend, and then his sister. That whole chain of events I always found scary. And Sherry Moon Zombie as Michael's mom, talk about feeling for a character. Man, she went through some shit. And some people will shit on, Scout Taylor Compton as Laurie. I think she's a lot more likable here than she is in the second film. And even though the second half of the movie is in familiar territory, I do think that Zombie gave it his own flair. I love the moment at the end when Michael drops his knife, runs for the first time, tackles Laurie, and they both fall off the ledge of the house. At number 2, is the original. I know, I could not put the remake above the original. Because I guess sometimes, I think of the original and I think, maybe it's a little slow or maybe not as much happens as I'd like. But then I watch it. Then I finally like smarten up and sit down and watch it and go, wow, this is too good. It's even more scary to have a kid who was normal, presumably, in a normal neighborhood with a normal family, and just snaps. And we don't know the reason for it. We don't really know why. He just killed his sister. And we didn't know about the whole sister aspect. That didn't come till later. So here, he's just going after random young girls. And that's creepy. And just going after babysitters, I'm sure women at the time were terrified because of this film. And even the nice, simple moments of being inside his point of view and hearing his breathing in the mask as he's walking around, as he's driving around, that's creepy in and of itself. I admit you don't have to have blood, gore, violence, and over-the-top killing to scare somebody. This movie knows how to do it. But as my number one all-time favorite Halloween film, Halloween 2, the original Halloween 2, by the way. I really like this film because I love that it picks up right where the first movie left off. I love that Loomis sees the imprint of Michael's body with the blood on the ground, and he just got up and left. He's walking around. And Donald Pleasance as Loomis, I think more so in this movie than in the original, he sells Michael as being this brute force, this evil shape that you can't comprehend why he does what he does, how he's doing what he's doing, that he is something to be feared, that you have to kill him and go after him. At all stops, Loomis is completely on his A game in this movie. My only criticism is that Laurie doesn't do enough because she's just in the hospital the whole time. But Michael finding out she's at the hospital, going straight for the hospital, almost just tunnel vision, going there, killing all the people that he does, the moment when she sees the nurse get risen up by Michael, and then the chase from that point on is very intense. The ending, in my opinion, would have been a pretty cool way to end this whole Michael story. So guys, that is my top 5 all-time favorite Halloween films. Let me know in the comments below, what is your all-time favorite Halloween movie? Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Later!